up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Unusual Suspects. I'm your host, Vincent Oshana. For anybody out there that's even trying to talk crap right now about, oh, his shirt is tight. It's a fitted shirt. I feel comfortable with it. Are you guys cool?
You look stunning today.
Thank you. When I'm sitting, so it looks kind of tight, but whatever. We'll talk about that. Anyway, guys, today we have an amazing show lined up for you guys all. We're going to be talking about White House monitoring trillions of people's phone records, the UN trying to mandate that we eat less meat to combat climate change, 200 Palestinian men convert to Christianity after a shared dream. I can't wait to hear that. And a secret CIA office that conducts UFO retrieval missions. Just to give you guys a real quick for who's in the house, we have our regular unusuals. We have Christie Prades in the house. We have Rob Gargulio. We have Brandon Aceto. And we have Conor Walcott, who we just found out 50% Jamaican.
Very.
So I don't know if you look.
I don't stand behind it.
You don't.
It exists, but I can't prove it beyond my grandmother's cooking.
Brother. So this is wait, so whose side? This is your dad?
This is my dad's side.
Your dad's side. So like Rastama, like they're Jamaican from Jamaica.
They're full-blooded Jamaicans, but they don't look like you're expecting.
That's
so,
okay.
So
Really shocking.
lower your expectations a little
What
bit.
you listen to reggae music, or you?
Nope.
It's not.
See, my mother's side is half Irish, so I came out like a jar of mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to the Jamaican part.
Okay.
Also, I want to say congratulations.
What?
You've been making some strides. I've seen some interviews with some big names in the political game.
Thank you.
I mean, President Biden, you had an interview with
that
him.
was crazy.
His son Hunter, big
Hunter
deal.
I smoked Parmesan cheese. Kelly was
No,
there.
I saw it. It was wonderful. And now Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
that was. Thank you very much.
And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Well, I want to tell everybody, and I'm being dead serious. I'm not suicidal. I love my life. I have zero.
Okay.
And I already told you, Connor, if I will not be jumping off of a bridge and shooting myself in the back of the head 2 times. I figured, so I interviewed Hillary. We're gonna put that link in the chat. You guys can check that out. But yeah, guys, let's
get into it.
You guys wanna?
Yeah.
You wanna just
Let's do it.
dive right into it? My shirt almost ripped because it is kind of snug, but don't say tight. The first story that I want to get into is what's happening in Ireland. So, as you guys know, a migrant from, where was the migrant from?
Algeria.
From Algeria, stabbed a couple of kids, 3 or 4 kids outside of a school, stabbed another person. The person at 20 years, I guess he's been there for 20 years. He should have been kicked out. They didn't kick him out. Instead, they gave him citizenship and a passport, which is,
Wow.
it's great for him. He's been living off, the government, so he's not working. But with all this happening, the response from the government was, I think, horrible. And then Conor McGregor, who's, to me, it's like, if you think of Ireland, it's Conor. That's all you think. I don't even know that they had a prime minister. That's how much I love Conor. Yeah, I thought it actually was. But so that happens. Conor responds, and then now Ireland's investigating him for hate speech after he criticized the mass immigration. Kelly, I want to show. Could I show the 2 tweets that Conor posted, and let's see why they're hating on Conor.
Why are you guys hating on me so much?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is not that Conor. So he said, I do not condone. This is the one, right? Last night's riots. I do not condone any attacks on our first responders and their line of duty. I do not condone looting and the damaging of shops. He emphasized the need for action and change in Ireland, hinting of potential political aspirations. He said, I'm in the process of arranging, which I hope to God it happens. He goes, believe me, I am way more tactical than I am backing. There will be a change in Ireland, mark my words. McGregor also warned that if officials don't act to ensure Ireland's safety, he would take matters into his own hands. He could fight, saying, if they do not act soon with their plan of action to ensure Ireland's safety, I will. So he strongly condemns the Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar for his, by the way, the Prime Minister's attitude is not criticizing the people that have a problem, like just voicing their opinion, not the problem itself. And it's really weird. Even their senator, what was her name? Kelly, what's this girl's name? Senator.
Bitch.
Oh, yeah, Senator Pauline O'Reilly. She speaks in front of their their Congress, if that's what we're going to call it. And she was talking, by the way, they're going all in on this hate speech bill. And I don't even want to say what she said. Well, I'll say it and then you guys could see it. She said, we are restricting freedom, but it's for the common good. Like she's letting it, by the way, they're not even hiding it. Kelly, can you show the clip of her? Yeah, show the clip of the senator on the floor talking shit. This is her.
He already looks insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody with that type of shirt?
Yeah. Who dresses like that?
Yeah.
Red flag.
All legislation is about the restriction of freedom. That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good. You will see throughout our Constitution, yes, you have rights, but they are restricted for the common good. Everything needs to be balanced. And if your views on other people's identities go to make their lives unsafe, insecure, and cause them such deep discomfort that they cannot live in peace, then I believe that it is our job as legislators to restrict those freedoms for the common good.
Okay, so they're not even hiding it, Brandon, right? Number one. Brandon, don't forget what you're going to say because I want to come to you.
Okay.
You guys understand what's happening? A person that is not supposed to be in the country, he's been there for 20 years. Then instead of kicking him out, because by the way, he was caught with a knife as well, they let that go. You have to start asking these questions. What's going on? So now that the people are complaining about this influx of immigration, illegal immigration, they're the bad people. And hate speech, and I'm going to get into the bill. The bill is horrible, and we'll definitely take it on that. But Brandon, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so the first place my mind goes to is that, what are the odds that they just have this giant bill drafted up right away after this happens? Because, from a 4D chess standpoint, okay, so this person's there for 20 years or whatever, they go and stab somebody, then obviously it's going to cause outrage. So the people being outraged and writing about this gives the government potential justification to say, like, oh, this is dangerous, we need to do this for your safety. So here's this bill that we totally didn't have ready. We just drew this up just now, so we're going to have to put this into place. My mind goes to they probably had this bill already drafted up, and this is like a House of Cards situation where they're just like waiting for something like this to come along to push this type of bill because it goes into the globalism controlled narrative.
And Brandon,
sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah,
9/11.
Well, yes, literally. Months after 9/11, we had the Patriot Act.
Less than like 30 days.
They passed through the Patriot Act, which again was to protect you.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, we're restricting your freedoms and invading your privacy, but it's for the gator, the greater good. That's today. Today it's for the gator good. But yes, back then it was for the greater good, which is what they're doing now. And I never really thought about that. But what she says in the very first sentence is very powerful. Legislation is restricting your freedoms. That's exactly what they're doing every time they pass legislation. It's just now it's crossing the boundary into a personal freedom.
And to establish some timeline for that comment was actually made over the summer. June or July, I believe. So they've had this going for a while, but it completely went under the radar, even though they were talking about it in that clip. She was, of course, referencing, we're going to restrict freedoms, you can't say certain things, they're protecting certain groups over others. The worst part is, with the Irish accent, it's almost hard to be mad at her about it. It still sounds so charming.
Yeah.
It's so harmless, old potato.
Yeah.
That's really good for a Jamaican.
Yeah. I'm Jamaican.
But go on.
Yeah, but I don't think people don't realize this too. Like, because I want to ask all of you, it's the why, guys. A lot of people, we always talk, we always get angry, we always remember, like, they always say this, Christie, you have to follow the money, right? But in this situation, why? Because look at the demographic of Ireland itself is changing. Dublin is now a European capital where the natives are the majority minority. Okay, Figure this out. There has to be a reason that they're trying to make that place non-Irish.
Globalism.
But Brandon, like when you say that to somebody, unpack that for somebody that doesn't know what you mean by why they're trying to change the landscape of what the people are.
Because it distorts your culture and your values. The more you erode the culture and the values and the things that people care about, the easier it is to radically change what the culture stands for. So the more diverse that these places get, like America, doesn't have the same cultural values. Ireland, you could say UK has this problem too. A lot of Europe is super mixed because they're allowing immigration. So the more you immigrate and mix up the culture and diversity, the easier it is to say, like, hey, we're going to do this sweeping globalist reform across the world because it's easier just to not have have borders at this point. And, you know, that's what the, like, sort of whatever you want to call it, cabal or establishment wants. Because
I like cabal.
That's like
Cabal's better.
socialism on steroids, to have a one world sort of government, one world currency.
So they're basically opening these borders, letting anybody come in. And I mean, dude, in a lot of these places, they're just, you know, average age men, not a lot of females, just a bunch of guys that are going in there and they're just screwing shit up to ruin that one place, right? So they can put in all these laws to basically be like, hey, listen, we got to shut down, we got to do this. I saw a video of one of these towns that they're doing all these smash and grabs. Now, and this is a perfect example, Brandon, you can't walk in, Connor, Christy, you can't walk into the place without, now there's a facial recognition thing on there. Now there's a facial recognition thing that has to look at you, because you know that now that they're gonna say, Brandon, well, we have to now.
Yeah.
We're doing this to protect you because of this. But yeah, you assholes let this happen.
They incited it.
Incited it. When you tell people under $1,000, go ahead and steal.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no shit. What are you gonna do? So I want to give you guys.
Europe is always 10 to 15 years ahead of the curve of the United States.
In what sense?
And where you see things play out over there as these policies. The same thing they do with Middle Eastern and African immigrants in Europe, they're doing with South American immigrants here.
Yeah.
Where they want all the borders open, and it's not just Ireland. We see it, in essentially every country in Europe. For example, there was an island off the coast of Italy called Lampedusa that was just overrun by like 10,000 African immigrants.
I saw it.
In the span of like a couple weeks.
And it's over now. They're the majority.
They took over the island.
Yeah.
They're all standing there demanding transport to Italy. Yeah. And government services are overrun, and there's really nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
Remember Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister of Italy, ran on stopping boat migrants and then did absolutely nothing about it.
She was like the female Trump, but no action.
Yeah.
She was just this, but it sells though. You know what I mean? Like when somebody's out there, because you're like, oh wow, we're attracted to that type of attitude, but if there's no action behind it, then
captivating speakers. That's like, I think that the government of Ireland fears McGregor more than anything because of how captivating of a speaker is. Because he could do the Trump Javier Milei thing if he wants to, and that's, I think, what scares the shit out of him. Like, he could totally become president or whatever the highest.
Brandon, 100%.
Imagine he gets out there giving speeches and shit. He could start a revolution if he wanted to.
100, dude. And you know what? And this is and somebody, I think I showed you somebody from, because we spoke about this, we touched on it lightly on the PBD podcast. And a guy from Ireland messaged me on Instagram. Conor McGregor is a true patriot through and through. He represents his country. Because, guys, by the way, and I had to write this down. He's worth, how many hundreds of millions of dollars?
Close to $1 billion now.
He's on his way, all right? I got goosebumps. I've been following this guy since before he got into the UFC. My friend Jade can attest to this. I followed him. He's a, hustler, business, family, worth all these millions. Bro, he knows he's not stupid. When you open your mouth against the establishment, you're risking it all. They're coming after you. And that, to me, shows that he's a man, because guess what? You're going against their narrative. Christy, he's a target now.
But what's anything worth, though, if you don't go after that? Because, like, if you have the power to stop that and you don't, you're a bitch.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, how self-righteous could you be to silence someone like Conor McGregor, but then you are the end-all, be-all. You're the one who stands on that panel, and you're like, we know what's best for you guys. This is what you should do. Eliminate anyone else who's a threat to that kind of control. And not only that, they try to vilify nationalism. Like, since when has being a nationalist been such a bad thing? To be proud of your culture, to be proud of, like, keeping it true to your foundations, to your values, to your country. Now I remember I was interviewing my dad for, like, a college paper or something like that. And I asked him, I was like, what do you think would dismantle America? Like, what do you think is going to destroy America? And he was like, diversity. It was like, and this was like before everything. And I was like, really, diversity? He was like, diversity, because there's never going to be an end to it. And it's going to eliminate people being proud of their roots, of their culture. It's just going to be like, oh, everyone be everything. And so I think they're trying to do that with the globalist agenda, with people like McGregor being like, you know what, let's keep things foundationally true within our own country. And let's check people who are coming in, immigrants. Like, that's not a racist or a bad thing to do. You got to check your borders. You know what I mean?
And here's an important point about Conor McGregor. He's actually Irish.
Yeah.
Like, he is a Irishman.
He has a right.
Through. Yeah. Now, in all the media reporting about this guy who conducted the stabbing, it was first reported he's an Algerian immigrant, right? Mm-hmm. A bunch of media outlets quickly ran with, no. He's been in Ireland for 20 years. Right. He's an Irish citizen. He's Irish.
Yes.
Don't say he's an Algerian immigrant.
Of course.
He's an Irish citizen.
Yeah.
But he's an immigrant from somewhere else. And this gets back to the point Brandon was making about eroding culture. Kelly, do you have that graphic I sent you?
Yeah.
Throw up. I just want you guys to take a look at this.
Okay. Just look at that. Is this Google's board?
Vinnie and I talked about this before, so I'm not going to have him answer, but the rest of you guys, and anyone watching at home as well, take a guess about who these 4 guys are.
Google's board.
Google's board?
No.
The third guy in is the Prime Minister of Britain.
So,
I remember that.
If you were thinking tech people, you're wrong.
Okay, well, I really thought it was tech.
Going from left to right,
okay.
that is
wow.
the Prime Minister of Ireland, the Mayor of London, the Prime Minister of England, and the First Minister of Scotland.
Wow.
Kelly, you can throw up their names there so you can see their names and positions.
So wait. These are all basically the leaders and mayors of Ireland, London,
leaders of the
Scotland?
entire UK. So Leo Varadkar, who is the Prime Minister of Ireland that Conor McGregor was just calling out, he's half Indian. Sadiq Khan, who's the Mayor of London, is Pakistani. Rishi Sunak, who's the Prime Minister, is Indian. His parents came to the UK from India by way of Africa. And then Humza Yousaf, who's the First Minister of Scotland, is, again, part Pakistani.
So the leaders of these countries aren't even basically, like, they're not, like...
And you know what?
Yeah.
What?
I know for a fact that the England guy, he's a young global leader of the WEF, so I'm willing to bet that the other 3 are as well.
Wow.
That's a fun game. We should come up with, we just throw out names and check WEF.org and see if they're
Connor, that's kind of weird that all these guys, they're either Muslim or
they're Indian
That's what I was
and
thinking.
Pakistani. So they're Hindu and Muslim.
and Muslim.
Yes.
And right now, it's very funny to watch an Irishman like Conor McGregor have a feud with the half-Indian gay Prime Minister of Ireland.
And he's gay?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, is a half-Indian guy indicative of where the average Irishman is politically?
Indicative. Hold on. Guys, no pun intended. Indicative,
No pun
not
intended.
indicating him. Go ahead. Sorry, well, I'm a comedian. That's how we roll. Yeah. Bingo.
But you see the point I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
They are not being led by people who
Care
really
about-
even
they're not even-
represent what they're standing for.
Exactly. I get that. And it's funny you say that. Connor condemned that Irish guy, the Leo Varadkar, the
Real
gay
quick,
Indian.
we just confirmed that those other 3 people are, in fact, young global leaders. Thanks,
They
Kelly.
are, Kel?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
How
shoot.
weird.
Look at that odd. Kelly. Arnold on the ones
So,
and
you know, we could
twos.
just like slap WEF over those faces. And
Just
that's
put by the way, the third guy, who was the third guy?
the England.
The England guy, he doesn't know how to use a hammer, by the way.
And you know what? The quick thing, they sabotaged the lady who was like the more Trump mindset, who was the Prime Minister of England last year. So that they collapsed the pension fund when she tried to actually
Shut
raise
the hell
yeah.
up.
Wow.
Yeah, the IMF like destroyed what she was trying to do, and they got her out in like 90 days and replaced her with him.
So do you think that every time they meet up, because they meet up at the WF every single year,
Davos.
right?
Every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Demons. Well, they all dress up
if
as
they
like.
meet up, do you think they get like, they come in and they're like, okay, we have like the blueprint for the new year, so we're gonna give one to each of you and take it to the country and like let's create this similar strategy and then just like
Yeah, and then
Exactly.
right?
They came up with the phrase "Build Back Better." Klaus said it before Kamala Harris and Biden started saying it. So they like get their
it
talking points together.
And
They
then,
also popularized
Yeah.
the Great Reset. Remember this thing that suddenly is a conspiracy theory, not to use the C word on your show here, Vinny.
no, it's all good.
But
It's not my show, but go ahead.
they throw it around of, this is the Great Reset. COVID's the Great Reset. And
Yeah.
then suddenly you're a conspiracy theorist if you bring up, oh, they were planning to use COVID to reset how the world works. But I mean, you look at that image we just showed up there.
Yeah.
4 guys who are all non-native, or at least like their families aren't native.
The families
to the
aren't
countries
native.
they're running.
They're not.
That's very unusual historically.
Yeah.
There's another term you're not allowed to throw around for that, but significant substitution premise, great replacement that you're not
Yeah.
allowed to
Yeah,
not
yeah.
allowed to mention.
Yeah.
But
That's a fact.
That's
proof.
happening.
That's
it's
proof
very
in your
interesting
face.
how that works.
And by the way, that's the same that the Prime Minister, what was his name, Leo Varadkar. He responded. So, and this is how much they're trying to stay away from. Don't blame it on extremists or Muslim or extremists or anything. There was a kidnapping of a 9-year-old girl, Emily Hand, that she was kidnapped by terrorists. She was abducted by an evil. He highlighted Varadkar when the Prime Minister went on the news. He said he used these words: "She was lost, and found to describe the situation, stating, and then Conor says, what is it with you and your government and your paid for media affiliates constantly downplaying, attempting to repress horrific acts that happened to children? He said, she was abducted by an evil terrorist organization. Right. You're a disgrace. So X, formerly known as Twitter, they emphasized that she was kidnapped. They fact-checked them on Twitter. They go, she was kidnapped by terrorists, and stating the use of the term lost is inappropriate and fails to highlight that she was released as part of a hostage deal. Jesus. It's in your face, Brandon, that they're like, listen, these people are not, it wasn't a terrorist taking them. She was lost, and we found her. Can you imagine if that was
Where
your...
did she go?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm so glad we found her.
And then you turn it around and you're like, for the common good, when this woman has the audacity to say that we will protect and we will restrict your rights of speech for your benefit, for your good. Should we really even trust that? You were wrong.
Yeah,
on this little girl who was kidnapped. So like, how self-righteous, how evil could you be to like restrict someone like McGregor talking, but you like give the wrong information to the public?
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know,
And to bring this full circle, right before we started filming this episode, they announced that the slogan "Irish Lives Matter" is now hateful, and if it's found written on anything, there will be criminal charges under the law.
Wow.
I was like, dude, it's, and I feel bad with, dude, they can't do it.
The Irish government?
It doesn't matter.
But in the United States, Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter is not hate. No, that's different.
Hate if you question.
Right.
The UK had Black Lives Matter rallies for George Floyd.
Yeah.
Like, they were everywhere. But suddenly, the lives of the people who live there no longer matter.
So it's gonna have to. I think it's gonna have to take, dude. Dude, I'm so happy this is coming. You said full circle because we're about to wrap up. It's gonna take somebody like a Conor McGregor, who is by the way, he's a fucking leader like Trump. And can I quote something? This was the movie Dune I saw last night by myself because.
It's okay, Vinnie.
In the movie Dune, when the son is talking to the dad, you know what the dad says? He goes, "A great man doesn't seek to lead. He is called to it and he answers." Brandon, like you don't go around. There's a calling and you go for it. So I'm gonna skip the numbers for when I talked about Conor. This is when I say he's a true patriot. He's just like Trump, and I think it's for the love of his country. Yes. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys before we move on. I was starting to lose hope. You know this because we had this conversation with Pat. For humanity, I kept saying stuff like, if they're here, the WEF and the George Soros and the fucking Klaus Schwab demons, what's the point, right? And then these type of things happen. Trump started it. Let's be honest. Trump was the first one. Then Argentina elects Javier Milei. The Netherlands elects Geert Wilders, far right. In Spain, they're protesting by the hundreds of thousands in the streets because of the government. Thank God, God gives us Elon Musk, who buys Twitter, to give us the platform to even see. By the way, if he didn't own Twitter, where are you getting any of this information, Rob?
Yeah. It goes like, I mean, think about January 6th. Where were you going to get that information? Fox was
and CNN.
MSNBC, CNN.
Oh,
they're not
my God.
Show it, but when so on our level, we're actually able to see that information where it would have been suppressed otherwise, him not owning it.
So isn't that so thank God, dude, I'm telling you right now, I started to lose it, but I gained it all back because now I'm seeing these people popping up that God, I don't care what anybody says, God is choosing these people. And again, they're not asking for it. You get called and it's up to you to answer or not. Just like with Trump, Brandon, a billionaire, I don't care what anybody says, a billionaire that didn't need, people are like he's arrogant, he wants to. Guess what? Every man wants to be I don't give a shit who you are. Even if you're not in the political game, I'd love to be the president. You'd love to be the president. Everybody in here. Yeah, sometimes it's you're arrogant, but guess what? People's hate for him because he loved the country, to me, showed that's somebody calling for him to do it that he didn't want, but he didn't want it. His name is ruined, his legacy is ruined. But he did it for us.
And not only that, he awakened people to realize that like the common man will actually make a difference more than any politician if we all rally together. I always think of William Wallace from Braveheart. Oof. Like I always think of that guy. I know it's like a fictional character.
No, William Moss is real.
Oh, was it real?
Yeah.
Okay,
How dare you?
Inspirational. Okay, Connor. Aren't you Jamaican?
Jamaican
I've
Moss.
seen Braveheart too many times.
Yeah.
Terrible accent, but at least for the movie, not.
No, but he was right, and his work.
Yeah, so that inspires. So that's why they don't like Trump, because it awakened people. McGregor's the same thing. It awakens people to be like, no, we can fight back, and we don't have to be a politician to do it. We just have to
be organized.
Be organized, come together, and realize who the real enemies are, and it's not each other.
And it's them, and it's up to us. These, by the way, even this, however many thousands of people, Rob, everybody watches it, we keep talking about it. Keep getting that word out, because their control is, their tentacles are everywhere, but our
people are
reach
waking
is
up.
grabbing
People
and grabbing.
are waking up.
Waking up people.
They're hungry for it. They're hungry for a rebellious attitude and a strong leader that has a rebellious attitude.
I love it.
Beyond that, they're hungry for things like culture and tradition and heritage and nationalism, even though you're not allowed to discuss nationalism.
Because they say Hitler's like, no, bro, nationalism has nothing to do with
this.
that.
Means you care about the place where you live.
Right.
What's the difference between nationalism and patriotism, or is it the same thing?
Well, they put like a negative connotation on patriotism too lately.
I know. Why asked Roger Stone that when he was here a few weeks ago? When did it become bad to be a patriot?
Exactly.
Because now it's like, I love this country, I'm a patriot. It's like, well, you're a racist.
Yeah.
You must hate immigrants. No, I never said that. I just said I love this country.
Yeah. Well, when you see somebody with a flag on their car, now it's like you racist people.
Do you think it started when Trump was coming in?
100%.
Yeah, it was like 2015.
Because all the Trump supporters started putting big flags on their cars, and all right, guys, I gotta move on. Next topic. Connor, you told me about this yesterday. The White House is monitoring trillions of our freaking phone records. What the freak is going on?
Yeah. So, start off with the shameless plug. A whole write-up on this is available on VT.com if you're interested in reading more. We will have that link in the description for you. Go check that out.
Thank you.
So our entire story on this comes courtesy of Wired magazine. I believe Kelly has the image of that.
Yes.
They broke this story first.
Okay.
And it is based on a letter sent to the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland by Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. It pertains to something called the Hemisphere Project.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be kind of an interesting thing because everybody already knows about this. Everybody has already been paying attention to this. I remember being in high school learning about NSA wiretapping and government monitoring of phones. It's not really new information, but at the same time, this letter and this report on it is exposing just how deep it goes. So to describe what the Hemisphere Project is, I'll quote Senator Wyden's letter here. It's a long-running dragnet surveillance program in which the White House pays AT&T to provide all federal, state, local, and tribal law enforcement agencies the ability to request often warrantless searches of trillions of domestic phone records.
Warrantless?
Warrantless.
That's what it was. That's what I thought.
That's what allows it.
Yeah.
Just AT&T.
Just
I got Verizon. I'm good.
AT&T is the
I got worried. I'm like, what do they got?
Brandon,
I'm like, oh, they got Verizon.
Rob, as you were saying that, I was like, I'm with Verizon.
So in researching the story, it's unconfirmed whether anyone other than AT&T has been involved in this.
Great.
Yeah.
But AT&T is the most prominent one. So essentially how this works is it's all done through the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, which was...
They just make up new groups.
It basically operates
Every day.
it's outside of any need for government oversight because it's run directly through the White House.
Wow.
Where it started to do drug investigations, where what they will do, they have paid AT&T $6 million since like 2015 in exchange for phone records.
That's it?
Yeah, that seems like a very odd and
seems
low
low.
How much? What was the number?
$6 million.
$6 million.
What, like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers? $1 million.
Shit, Pat could have bought that. Easy.
But so odd numbers aside, how it works is AT&T provides them with things like names and phone numbers of callers and recipients. And it was initially started to target people in drug investigations.
Right.
Or this guy's suspected of being a drug trafficker, so let's look at who he's calling.
Suspected.
And then they do a chain investigation where they take all the people he called and look at all the people they called. And basically, they just extend outwards with no limits. And even though it's run through drug operations, what they've done is expand it beyond that to any sort of criminal investigation. And in the last few years, just to anybody, not even involved in crime. And
Just a free-for-all.
Just they can monitor.
And who pays for the people to go and trace all those calls and connect them and listen to them?
Oh, who do you
We
think,
do.
Rob?
Oh, we do. So we're paying for
We're paying
ourselves
to
to get
be
spied on
right.
by our own government.
And so Connor, so now that you're saying, so they're, hold on, so the White House, this is just the White House itself now is basically listening to everything that they want to.
They have it all.
They're not listening. The NSA was doing the wiretapping. Everybody remembers that story. That's where they're
With
actually
Snowden?
Yeah,
With
that's
Snowden
how they're
really-
actually monitoring calls, monitoring texts, and everything. With the Hemisphere Project, which has been rebranded to the White House Data Analytical Services. I'll get to why that changed in a minute. What they do is look at all the information about the call without actually listening to it, because a wiretap requires a warrant.
Yeah.
They need probable cause to get a warrant. But if they don't have any of that, they can just go to AT&T and say, hey, here's some money. Let us see your call records.
Well, how's this legal?
Wow.
Well, there's absolutely no legal obligation for AT&T to keep any of this.
What the
It's like buying data, right?
Yeah, it's essentially just data mining like everybody else does on websites. And, you go to one company's website and they'll sell your information to ad agencies.
Which you wonder why there's been such a lack of regulation in that industry.
Yeah, so Connor, they can't listen in on the phone call, but they're getting what, a text of what happened?
So they are able, Senator Wyden described it as AT&T's super search engine or Google on steroids, where they get it, it all goes into a database. And even though the partnership began in 2007, technically AT&T has call records going back to 1987.
Holy shit.
So they can just kick all that back whenever. And like I said, there is no legal obligation for them to be holding on to this. They're not required to save it for law enforcement, which means the only reason they're doing it is because they're getting paid to do it.
Right.
So it's, hey, we'll save all this information for people's calls, and then we'll sell it to the government in exchange for, what seems like a low amount of money.
Yeah,
But-
6 million.
In the grand scheme of things, would you rather be in good favor with the government or bad favor with the
Exactly.
government as
Of
a large
course,
company?
because if you ever do screw up, it's like, hey, listen, remember me?
Yeah.
I gave you guys a bunch of information.
So here's why it changed from being called the Hemisphere Project to the Department of Analytical Service or Data Analytical Services. In 2013, this whole thing went public. Some guy with the New York Times blew the lid off of it. He revealed exactly what was happening. They got shut down for a little bit, and then just rebranded, renamed, and launched again. Wyden provides a timeline for that.
The power of a name.
yeah.
White House funding for this program was suspended by the Obama administration in 2013, the same year the program was exposed to the press, but continued with other federal funding under a new generic-sounding program named Data Analytical Services.
Wow.
Sounds safer.
Funding for this program was quietly resumed by the Trump administration in 2017, paused again in 2021, the first year of the Biden administration, and then quietly restarted again in 2022. So this isn't just some, sinister Biden-Obama thing. It was going on under Trump. It has spanned 3 presidential administrations at least. And because it technically launched in 2007, encompasses a little bit of the end of Bush as well. So they've been doing this for a long time.
Wait, so it started under Bush?
Started under Bush.
Of course, yeah, because 9/11.
The most terrible
Patriot
things.
Act.
Yeah.
But even Trump was not immune to letting it go.
Well, that's a separate entity, though. The government lifer that has a life of its own. That's totally separate from the president, because you could outlast the president as a CIA lifer or an NSA lifer.
Yeah, for sure. And it's you're not going to change that. It's a self-sufficient. It's like the internet. Even if a nuke goes off, the internet's still going to be there.
Yeah.
Just like the government, they're not going anywhere.
And you want to hear about how it's funded. Although the Hemisphere Project was paid for with federal funds, they are delivered to AT&T through an obscure grant program, enabling the program to skip an otherwise mandatory federal privacy review.
I love the word obscure.
Yes. So
obscure.
It's just these weird grants that they hand out to AT&T so that they don't have to sit down and do a review of how this affects privacy rights. Which just means, we're just handing money to people in exchange for records, and there's no oversight.
So they're basically
That's
do it whenever they want.
insane.
So there's literally when you're on the phone, there's
Hell no.
zero.
I mean, if
Never.
you assumed that still in the year of our Lord 2023,
Yeah.
I assume I'm being recorded everywhere.
yeah.
Right
Never.
now.
Well,
You're being
Right
recorded
now.
right now.
Yeah.
Well, I know now, but in my car, I have a smart car, so I figure that I'm being listened to there. At home, we have the little camera to watch the dogs and cats when we leave. Outside of my home, we have a Ring doorbell. So when I'm mowing my lawn and yelling about why I'm doing it, my 14-year-old should be, there's probably somebody that could go and watch that.
100%.
It's definitely fear of being recorded that is why I drive a 2007 Corolla. Not because I can't afford a new car.
But it's fake.
Safety.
Well, I'm afraid of the deep state listening to me in my car.
It's funny because I know they're listening to everything, but I'm not stupid. You know, I was in the military. My sister just retired. I have some people my brother knows people that work in intelligence for the government, and he's like, Vinny, he's like, just cover all the cameras on like your computer and
but there's nothing that could stop. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Okay, but they're clearly listening to in your home, right? Because how many times have you had a conversation with somebody? Like, I'll have it with my wife, and we'll be talking about the lampshades, and we need to get new lampshades. Yeah. And then on Amazon, I'm getting recommendations for lampshades. I'm like, something here is what is it?
Right.
And then you're the weirdo if you start unplugging everything and smash it. Figure out what it's listening to.
That's the data brokerage industry. That one's not necessarily the government, but that's, I think, why the government doesn't regulate the data brokerage industry, so that they have the leeway to do it themselves secretly. You know, because you can't say like, oh, you're doing something illegal. No, because there's a whole industry that like runs off selling data. You know, so like when your phone listens to your audio or captures what you're saying or typing in, you know, you basically
become a lead. But we're not even typing it. We're talking it. Right. Then we get on the phone, and all of a sudden, it's there in my Facebook, and I'm like, that's not even Amazon. How did you get into here?
We're so far down the rabbit hole on this thing where they are listening to us constantly and watching everything we do. Did we ever really think we could stop the biggest intelligence apparatus in the world with a piece of tape over a webcam?
No.
It was a good start, but there's not much else we can do with that.
When you were in the military, did you ever worry that they were spying? Like, did they ever pull you into a meeting and they're like, hey, because I would think that of all the places that you would, because that was, what years were you in the service?
I was in 1998 to 2004.
So,
tech boom.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, 98 was when Enemy of the State came out. That's when NSA surveillance first came to the public. And we always talk about film and propaganda and how they predict things. That movie did that. So I'm wondering if, like, you're in the Army in 98, 99.
Air Force.
Are they listening to you then?
Well, mind you, I had secret clearance because I was working at a nuclear missile base, but because I was around nukes, and I mean, those were, they trusted. Did I tell you guys that story? I don't know. They never, about the spying, we never really got into it, but or I didn't get any insider information about it. But it was crazy when I was going for my clearance. I went home to visit my mom and my family and everything. And what are the odds of this? This is crazy. When you talking about background checks, Rob, I go to Rob just shrank. I go. I'm at the mall. I'm at the mall, Rob, and I see. We're adjusting Rob's seat just for. Rob got really short. I think he got really long. Boy, Rob, your head's not in the shot. Kelly's like slapping him in the head. Brandon, did I tell you this story? So mind you, to go to work at a nuclear missile base, they have to get top secret clearance. They have to trust, who the F you are. I go home randomly to visit my mom. I'm at the mall in my regular civilian clothes, and a huge black buff guy goes up to me. He's like, Oshana? And I was like, oh my God. My 5th grade math teacher, Mr. Bonaparte, goes, hey, oh my God. He hugs me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I just joined the military. He's like, somebody from the government called me. Yeah. I'm not joking. And asked me if I thought that you would ever grow up to do anything that would harm the government or the... And I was like, what did you tell him? He was bad. Guess what? He was rad and wrong. Because, dude, like, think about how they were calling it. So they're very methodical. But when it comes to, like, the secrets and you nailed it. There's no... Like, mind you, since I know that they're listening, every single time I'm on the phone and I hang up, because I know somebody's listening, I go, you fucking government. I go like this, you fucking government nerd, and I hang up because I know they're like, that asshole did it again.
And it's not just but as we observed in the office a little while ago, you start any sentence with the word Siri, and suddenly
every phone goes off.
Yeah.
Oh, they're listening.
Every phone in the room is now paying attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that.
Kill me.
You guys were talking about lampshades, and all of a sudden lampshades. It's the same with me. Like the other day, I yelled at my brother. I was like, "You dick!" And then there was porn on my phone. That's whatever. That was a joke. All right, guys, we're gonna be moving on. Next topic. Brandonian. This actually really bothered me and Brandon because me and Brandon are freaking carnivores because we're men and we eat meat.
That's right.
The UN is trying to mandate that we eat less meat to combat climate change. Brandon, please go so I can get mad after this.
Yeah, so listen, this is the hill to die on. This one has me fired up. So if you had noticed, there's been this like creeping barrage over the past few years of the slow walking from the global elites of, oh, hey, we shouldn't eat as much meat. Oh, hey, maybe like we should consider eating bugs. So
No, he's right.
I know.
Let's
debug.
Look, check this out. So, Kelly, can you play that clip from the school teacher with the student real quick?
And what are we watching, Brandon?
So this is an interaction in the classroom that happened earlier this year, if you can believe it.
All right, let's see it.
You know, you gotta ask yourself, so where is this coming from? The answer's gonna be next.
Fox News. That's where it's coming. Oh.
Look, read.
State of our opinion, white Americans shouldn't be eating bugs.
Because we don't have any evidence to support it. But should we be eating bugs? Yeah, because we're killing the world by raising cows and animals. So there's only one right answer for this essay. And it's that Americans should be eating bugs. Everyone else in the world is eating them.
Oh my
It's
God.
healthy for the environment.
Believe this shit.
And it's just, there's only one right answer.
There's only one right answer.
What the hell?
So where could this be coming from? So can you go to the next that article?
Wait,
quick?
Brandon, that's an under. So Kelly, before you play it, so a student is recording the teacher saying, no, you should be eating them.
Everybody write an essay on why people should be eating bugs, and she's like, "Well, I don't want to write an essay on that. I want to write an essay why we shouldn't be eating bugs."
Oh, they're
She's
indoctrinating
like,
this.
that's not the- Yeah.
Wow, Brandon, for a bug. That's where it starts. They start dropping it into the schools.
Where's that coming from?
Oh,
and here's
weird.
the answer. So this is a WEF article. 5 reasons why eating bugs can help save the environment.
WEF.
So, number 1, edible insects can produce the equivalent amounts of protein when compared to animals. Like, oh, okay.
False.
Hey, all right, the hell of a steak.
How many crickets do you have to eat to get the steak protein
Yeah,
out
right.
from a steak?
As a steak, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, insects require less care and upkeep than livestock.
Which seems obvious because
No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, doesn't even want to eat it.
I gotta take care of my pet mealworms today after work.
3, we're actually running out of protein, which is
False.
total bullshit because we've been able
Yeah.
to clone animals since the 90s. We know that for a fact.
Can you go back up for 1 second? Read that first line. By 2050, the Earth will have nearly 10 billion people. The demand for protein will exceed our ability to procure it, which would make sense if you're looking at things from a grand view and going, well, why would they want, I don't know, population control? Why
Right.
would there be certain things like pandemics that help wipe out millions of people? Because there's going to be shortages of food, water.
Well, there shouldn't be, though, because we could clone animals and we could produce things like from a 3D printer standpoint. Like we have all the technology possible to make enough food for ourselves.
And because Brandon, I want you to finish this list, but they're saying that the cows farting is what's the greenhouse effect that's causing.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Pretty much, like people like AOC are yapping about that, but they don't even know like why they're saying it. They're just being told to say that. Obviously, that a fucking cow fart is fucking up the environment.
Oh my God.
The other ridiculous
cow fart
the other
fucking up
ridiculous
the
part of
environment.
this is
And then Bill Gates is buying a bunch of farmland. You know, people in the Netherlands are being held at gunpoint to give up their farmland. So why is all that happening? Because they're trying to seize control of the areas that can produce these things.
Yeah, and because I want you to finish this. I'm sorry because that's the second time I said it, but Bill Gates, like anything that Bill Gates does or touches,
red flag.
It's a fucking red flag. The guy is a computer guy. The moment he was like, well, listen, vaccines. And put vaccines in people. Is it just, Rob, I mean genuine. Is it just the small awake that go, I don't trust you, bro? And him buying up all this farmland, here's my thing. Why? Is anybody questioning this son of a bitch? And mind you, just a little addition, I want to throw this in there. His wife, Melinda Gates, who they started this, after all these years, you know why she left him? Do you know why? His relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. She goes, I couldn't go on with him knowing. And here's the thing. What relationship? Like, hey, Bill, what relationship? The money and, he took. No. It's because she knows what you did at Epstein Island, you freaking demon. You know
what he's doing around the world.
Frog and I want you. Huh?
What he's doing around the world.
No, but Brandon, 100%.
I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
How much protein do you think is in one of Bill Gates' vaccine mosquitoes?
Yeah.
If you just eat a handful of those, you're getting vitamins,
vaccine,
myocarditis, a bunch of different.
And another overlooked part of this too is that insects are much more important to the ecosystem than cows are. Because, say a third of insects went away, you know how much shit they do to upkeep the environment.
100%. And once this is not a good thing. So Brandon, I'll let you keep going.
Insects are part of a virtuous ecocycle. So I don't even know how that's a point.
What is a point?
Yeah. And then you could start small and work your way up to it. So it's disgusting at first. It'll be less disgusting over time.
You get used to it.
I'm going to try and talk my wife into that. That woman screams if there's a spider in the house, and I'm going to go, guess what? Instead, you're going to have to eat it now.
They say that people eat on average 7 spiders a year in their sleep without even realizing it. So, we're already kind of there. Just try to get up to 10.
What if that's propaganda? They started that knowing years ago they were working their way up to it. Because I've heard that too. Yeah, since I was a kid, you eat 9 spiders a year.
But you know what? WEF guys sneaking into your room every night to drop spiders.
Son of a bitch.
You know what I don't want to freaking happen? Which I hate this shit. You ever go to a restaurant and people are like, tuna tartare, try it. You eat it and they go, guess what? That wasn't tuna tartare. And you're like, what? They're like, yeah, that's watermelon chopped up with beets. And you're like, oh, you know what that's going to happen, Brandon? You're going to go to somebody's house and they're going to go, how'd you like that tuna casserole? And you're like, fucking loved it. They're like, that wasn't tuna. Those are baby cockroaches. I'm like, that's going to be the future. Brandon, but how confident do you think they are with this, and how will Americans, especially Americans, because they are doing it over there because they don't have meat over there, how easily are we going to swallow this? No pun intended.
Yeah, no.
Kelly laughed. Kelly, comedian.
No, this is the hill to die on. You know, I know, like, for me personally, I want to be able to have a fucking pile of tomahawk steaks whenever I want.
Me too!
Yeah. I won't live in a world that I can't do that. And, you know, this UN shit saying you can only have a certain amount of kilograms per meal or per day or something of meat. Like, this is the thing they're proposing. So the UN is pushing this because it's being pushed by NGO groups. And guess who influences the NGO groups? People that are the biggest donors, which are Bill Gates and George Soros. People like that. So how about fucking Davos eats bugs when they're there? You know.
I'm telling you right now. I want to see you guys eat it. Go do a little toast with some water beetles, or I want to see it, bro, because that's ridiculous. And wait, what's the thing that you said right before that, Brandon?
So the chain of power goes like, so the UN pushes this thing forward, it gets picked up by the countries. So it goes, biggest donors tell the NGOs what to do, NGOs tell the UN what to do, and then the UN pushes it out through the international world. And they're trying to make the richest countries start eating less meat.
Yeah, that was the point I wanted to get to, because it's not everybody. They don't want the entire world to eat the same amount of bugs or stop eating meat. They want the wealthy, developed countries to give up meat.
Yeah.
They want to limit what, you know, countries like the United States, the UK, other countries in Europe are able to eat. But I guarantee you, they will allow impoverished third world countries to eat as much meat as they want. It's the same thing with the other climate policies. You know, crack down on the U.S. and send the developed world back to the Stone Age, but don't do anything about India.
Yeah.
Don't do anything about China.
Yeah.
And we've been a way to turn into like a doughboy little bitch and to stop eating as much meat as
That's what I was saying.
want,
It's going to weaken. It weakens the society.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead, Chrissy.
No, it just weakens the society. You take away protein, and it like. How many vegans or vegetarians have you guys seen that seem healthier or more fit than someone who's a carnivore who actually eats meat?
They're sick.
They get sick. They get weak. Are you vegan? No, you're not. No, it weakens the society. So it's definitely.
Shots, he ate 9 nuggets.
That's why I'm quiet over here.
He ate some nuggets. And then Chrissy, and then I think you did an article about this too. You definitely did an article about this. This is why they're trying to do that cashless bullshit system, because they're going to limit how many steaks you can buy a month, which is like, wait a minute, bitch. I want to eat. Listen, this is America. I want to eat what I want when I want. I'm responsible. I know what the hell I'm doing. I need that protein, because if you don't, listen to me, if you don't eat steak, if you don't eat chicken, you don't eat this protein, you're going to become a weak beta salt. Your bones are going to be brittle. Yeah, soy boy.
Doughboy bitch is what you said.
Precisely. Those articles you mentioned from Brandon and Christie, where can people go to read those?
VT.com.
Yeah, Shane wrote a great article about it. I got to give him a shout out. Shane brought this to my attention. So yeah, go to VT.com.
VT.com. And I'm going to ask you guys, a lot of the stuff that I talk about on PBD podcasts, on all of them, I get them from you guys. And I'll say it openly. You guys got good stories. Okay, we're going to move on, guys. Bitch, what was it? Doughboy?
Doughboy little bitch.
Doughboy little bitch.
Yeah. You love to say it.
Don't let it happen. This is the hill to die on.
Yeah, guys, don't. No, I'm not eating
as much meat as we want in America forever.
He's wearing a tracksuit today, so you know he's
Brandon's not playing games. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to move on to the next story. We're going to go to Christie. So, Christie, you said this yesterday. I didn't want to hear any information about it because I wanted you to say it.
Sure.
You're obviously a Christian. I'm a Christian. I don't know if anybody else. Well, yeah, Brandon, you are Christian. Rob, just
Jewish.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Appreciate that.
200 Palestinian men converted to Christianity after a shared dream. They all had the same dream.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it was reported from underground Christian ministries in Palestine that over 200 men in Gaza, most of whom lost Their children lost family members throughout the Israeli-Hamas conflict, have chosen to learn more about the Christian faith and follow Jesus Christ after sharing their encounters with meeting Christ in their dreams on the same night. Now, Professor of New Testament Studies at Houston Christian University, Michael Lasona, posted his thoughts on Facebook after receiving reports of supernatural, miraculous conversions from churches in the Palestinian communities. So this is what he posted. He said, over the past 2 days, we have ministered to hundreds of fathers who have lost most, if not all, of their children in the war. As we moved these men to safety, we fed them, washed their clothes, and began to read the Bible to them, sharing the way of peace through Jesus. Then a big miracle happened. Last night, Jesus appeared to more than 200 of them in their dreams. They have come back to us to learn more from God's word and are asking how to follow Jesus.
Wow.
I side with Israel in this war, not necessarily for theological reasons, but because Hamas and those backing it are pure evil. Yet I know that not all Palestinians support Hamas. In fact, they will be punished severely if even suspected of supporting Hamas. Let's pray that this war can be over soon and that Israel can eradicate Hamas so that Palestinians can be free of Hamas. So now this was really interesting that I found. I did further research and I found a former Muslim turned Christian. His name is Nabil Qureshi, told his conversion story in his best-selling book, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. A devout Muslim encounters Christianity. He wrote that Mike Lasona, who posted on Facebook, was instrumental in his journey out of Islam to Christ. While he was a Muslim college student, Mike discussed the history of Jesus' death on the cross and his resurrection from the dead. The evidence Mike presented was compelling, and it formed a keystone to his conversion. Now, his testimony and that of thousands of other Muslim converts to Christianity sought to explain that God spoke to them through dreams and visions. I didn't know this, but Mr. Qureshi shared that Muslims earnestly seek and even have special prayers asking to hear God through dreams and visions because they don't believe they can hear revelatory messages from God. So he stated that they are prepared to hear God supernaturally and that, quote, supernatural revelation in the Middle East is bringing people to Christ. Mission Frontiers magazine has reported that up to 25% of Muslims converts based off of experiencing a dream that led them to their conversion. Now, some quick facts. According to the UN Refugee Agency, there are around 47,000 Christians in Palestine, with 98% of that number being in the West Bank.
Still now after this whole situation?
Well, the Christian population in Gaza amounts to just over 2% of that in Gaza. So that kind of means like 1,000 Christians reside.
Yeah.
Some of them have passed away, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Now, critics have come out rather quickly on social media claiming that these revelations are false.
Of course.
If they were true, why haven't these newfound Christians come out in public to profess their faith?
In a Muslim country?
Why are we only hearing it from Christian websites and not from mainstream media? Like, I think we kind of know this.
Yeah.
A New York Times best-selling author said it very well. His name is Joel Rosenberg, which I guess I don't know if he's Jewish, but Rosenberg sounds pretty Jewish. Is calling on Israel to evacuate Christians from Gaza, saying they face a threat of genocide from Hamas if they're not protected during the chaos of evacuation. So he spoke on the recent bombings in Gaza and the plea for a safe evacuation of Palestinian Christians caught in the crossfires. So Kelly, we can play this video that we have up.
An open letter really pleading with Israeli leaders to evacuate Christian Palestinians out of Gaza. What sparked the letter?
Well, Billy, thank you for drawing attention to this.
I think it might be a little bit too fast.
Wants to
Speed is I was like, hey, listen, they really wanted it, but
we really wanted to get to the answer.
Guys, they're Christians, but guess what? And they might be sinners. They're on cocaine, or they both had Red Bull.
Letter.
Right. Okay, so I think we've got it. All right. Thank you, Kelly.
Joel, you published an open letter really pleading with Israeli leaders to evacuate Christian Palestinians out of Gaza. What sparked the letter?
Well, Billy, thank you for drawing attention to this. It's a terrible situation, as you can imagine. I mean, everybody in Gaza wants to be out of Gaza right now, but there's a difference. The Israeli government for the last month, 5 weeks, have been urging Palestinians in the northern part of Gaza to move south, right? The Israeli Defense Forces have been opening up secure lanes for people to evacuate to get to the south and have been helping the international community bring in food, clean water, right, medical supplies and so forth. So that's all good. The problem is for the Palestinian Christians. There's only about 1,000 Christians left in all of the Gaza Strip out of 2.2 million people. But the 1,000 have been pretty much sheltering in one of three different churches, a Roman Catholic church, a Greek Orthodox church, and another church, I believe it's Baptist. And the long story short of it is that they've been safe there, but very little food, very little water, no medical supplies, and they can't go anywhere because there's so much bombing and shooting in both directions, in either direction. So, but starting in the last 24 hours, the IDF has been ordering the Palestinian Christians to say, okay, now you really do have to move south because there's so many more operations we have to do. Well, the problem is I start getting calls from people who are connected to these Palestinian Christians, and they're saying, listen, they're terrified to go south because they're not Muslims, they're Christians. And the Hamas and Islamic Jihad and other violent, genocidal Islamist extremists are going to slaughter these Christians. They're going to rape the wives and the daughters, just like they've done in Syria, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, anywhere else where these guys operate. So no, it's not a good idea to move them south. And so then the question is, well, then what, right? And so I'm saying, trying to get the attention of the Israeli government at the highest levels. And I'm not saying that mine is the only way you could do it, but one way is to get all of the Palestinians and evacuate them by the Israeli military into the West Bank, get the Christians out of Gaza into the West Bank. That's what they've done in the past, and that is a way to at least get them to safety.
Wow.
So a potential answer to why these skeptics are like, why don't they come out? Well, it's multiple things. One, they could be kind of trying to figure out how to process the loss of their family members. Yeah. Another one could be absolute fear of coming out and finding their newfound faith in Christ when they're surrounded by Hamas.
Christian, especially if you're not, because think about it, if you're a Christian, you're not doing all the prayers that the Muslims are doing throughout the day. They're going to be very suspicious and be like, yo, where are your prayers? Why aren't you getting down?
Right.
Why aren't you, oh, dude, that's what a shitty,
and radicalists like Hamas, especially if you convert from being a Muslim
to Christian, they're
to
done.
Christianity, they're done. So I wanted to turn it to you guys and share thoughts because I thought that amongst all of this tragedy, I think this is really enlightening and really eye-opening to see that people have been awakened amongst their own personal tragedies. I think there's also opportunity there to kind of find their newfound faith, their life and purpose. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about it because I thought that was pretty crazy that 200 former Muslims in Gaza have this similar dream, and I wanted to kind of bring that to the table and see what you guys think.
I buy it completely.
Yeah.
I think that's well within the realm of possibility. Despite being a devout Christian, I am, of course, skeptical of things when people claim to have mass visions and all that, just because there's a lot of fake stuff that gets thrown around.
Like a Virgin Mary statue crying.
When the statue wept, or the blessed Virgin of whatever appeared in the heavens.
It's a leak in the ceiling.
Yeah, it's obviously you're supposed to be skeptical about these things and test them to make sure they're legit. But whether they had an authentic dream or whatever experience led them to it, 200 guys accepted Christ.
Right.
So that's a significant thing that whether you believe in visions or not should not cause you to just write it off and scoff, because there's now 200 new souls that have been won for the cause of Christ, and I think that's pretty important, especially in the midst of a tragedy like what's going on there. So I think that's something that should be celebrated. I hope it is true. Obviously, we'd like to see that verified, but I buy it.
I think it was beautiful. I did, like, while you were saying, when you said it yesterday, I'm just like, to have the same dream, to have God, like Jesus Christ, come to them like, hey guys, like, but then now look at the plight that God's gonna, like, look at this challenge, because God challenges all of us, right? Like, imagine this challenge. Now you're in a Muslim area, right? You're in Palestine. There's a war going on with another country that's not Christian. You know what I mean? They're fighting each other, big time religion land. Now you're seeing this vision, and now you're like, hey, listen, regardless of everything that's happening around me, I'm now converting to Christianity. What a cross to bear, for them to be like, now, because now you're in the belly of the beast of the beast.
But places like the Middle East and China and other places that are extremely hostile to Christianity are actually seeing giant revivals of it. The churches there are thriving despite the persecution. Meanwhile, in the United States, we have people who decide to walk away from the faith merely because they were unhappy to have to wake up early for church service on Sunday. Like the claims of Western church persecution and everything are nothing compared to what people around the world are dealing with. But it shows that even in the midst of hardship, and you said most of them lost some or all of their kids.
That's crazy.
That's devastating.
It's unfortunate that we have to go through really dark places and dark places of sadness and go through loss of life, loss of family members, to really get deeper in root with something greater than yourselves, to look for strength, to look for transformation, to look for something, an answer as to why these tragedies happen. So I thought it was really important and special to share this, that amongst all that tragedy and amongst the hardship that they're going to go through because they're caught in the crossfire and they're claiming that Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior now, I think that it's important to share that and to hope for the best for them and to continue spreading enlightenment like this to others.
And it's a good reminder in the midst of this conflict that there are people who aren't on necessarily either side of this, caught in the middle, where, even the last episode I was on, going after Israel politically.
Right.
There's all sorts of reasons to condemn Hamas, condemn Israel, not to draw equivalence between every single thing, but both sides of a war are always doing bad things.
Yeah.
But it's a reminder of the people who are suffering in the middle, and that should be at least part of the focus of what we're talking about here. And I think that's a very significant reminder. And in discussing it, what I have said, it's not the most widely accepted opinion on the Israel-Hamas conflict. But I personally think the best thing both sides could do would be to accept Christ immediately, and the peace that they're looking for will come through that.
Not only that, just question the red flags. If people are so quick to debunk this, but they don't even question our government, they don't question Pfizer or like vaccines or anything that comes out that's new that could hurt us, they don't question that, but they're very quick to try and debunk something like this. So that should also make you question why. If this is nothing but a good thing.
Fully believe in the deep state. But I do also believe in something a little more powerful than the deep state called God.
Yeah.
So
that's what they don't want you to believe in. That's why they cover stories like this. That's why they don't cover them on mainstream media news. That's why we only find them on Christian websites. And that's something that you should question as well.
Yeah, something that I've always looked down on, you know, like I'm really close with God and a big believer in God, but I've always thought it's really unfortunate with the concept of religious wars and people being so zealous about their specific type of religion that they feel a need to either like kill in extreme cases or like, you know, vilify people who believe in it in a different way. Because, you know, like if you're a believer in God, which I am, like I don't think that God look fondly upon you, like chastising somebody who believes in a different way. You know, so like I think there's a lot of value in like the culture and the values of having a specific religion, but I think it's like destructive for people to feel like so zealous about their specific type of religion that they need to declare war on people. Because even if the conflict wasn't going on, that would still be an issue for the people who are now Christians. They would still be in danger for being Christians in a Muslim area. You know, it's like a whole even separate issue from the war. Because like the guys who were on the podcast that time, the guy was like firmly saying, "Oh yeah, like I think if you convert from Muslim to Christianity, then you should be put to death." Like that's a psychotic thing to say.
He literally looked at a guy across that was sitting 10 feet from him and was like, "I want to put you to death for converting to."
And that goes, you say that.
That goes to tell you though, but that goes to tell you where one side is vision or belief is. If you don't believe in this type of God, we're supposed to kill you. Where's that loving God in that fucking ideology?
And that was the reaction that the guy who had converted from Islam to Christianity had was, you're saying because I've left your religion, you think I should be dead. Like that is an insane thought. And to hear somebody go, wow, like being in that room, because I was running the computer for that episode, you can feel that tension and you're like, wow, this guy, like, if he had his way, he'd kill him. Over what? Over a difference of opinion. Difference in belief.
Exactly, different belief. But at the end of the day, why it's so stupid to me, and you just nailed it, God, it's the same belief. I don't want to say here, whatever you believe in, God, the Almighty, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, whatever you believe in, it's the same thing. So for you to go, well, if you don't believe in my idea, I should kill your ass. And they firmly believe that killing you isn't going to change where their soul is going to go. That freaking boggles my mind. And just because I know we're about to go to Rob to your story, the one thing that lately has been really pissing me off about this whole Israel-Palestine situation, and it goes off the topic of the religious part of it, but pisses me off that people don't realize that two things can exist, multiple things can exist feeling-wise at the same time. Like you can still right now have compassion and feel for the innocence, which is 95% innocent compared to 5%, maybe less, of Hamas dying. I can still have compassion for the innocent lives lost, okay, and not be pro-Hamas. That's all you hear from the other side. And guess what? I can say, you know, dude, what Hamas did to the Jews and killing 1,500 kids and disgusting demonic terrorists, but I'm not. Oh, you're a Zionist and you're no, guys. I have compassion for both sides. It's an ugly situation. I don't think it's going to be. When I keep hearing, well, it has to, until we kill Hamas. Where's the tracker? Where's the number of okay? That we just killed the last Hamas. It's over. No, they're multiplying. If you think about it, how many Hamas soldiers do you think they've recruited in the past 2 months? They're fucking growing.
However many have been killed times 3. You know?
Times 3, exactly. Everybody that's been killed, those sons, those kids, are like, dude, and again, it's never going to finish. But anyway, I hope to God, God helps and gets compassion to people's hearts. I'm happy about this ceasefire, but
that was a sliver of light. All of this, and that's very important.
I love it. So, all right, last story before we wrap up. Rob.
Yes, hi.
He's probably
hi, Rob.
Hello, Internet.
And Internet. Let me make it plural. Internet. And guys, I am a firm believer, Christie, like, if we're going to talk about dancing or stage or theater, you do your research, and we're talking, this is going to be about UFOs. Rob took 2 pounds of edibles. So this is going to be
took mushrooms this weekend to see aliens.
So this is going to be good. So Rob, you're going to talk about...
Are the aliens in the room with us right now?
No, they're home.
They're home.
Yeah.
So Rob's going to talk about the secret CIA office that conducts UFO retrieval missions everywhere. Is it just here?
Yes. Well, according to whistleblowers. So this broke yesterday from the Daily Mail. This is November 27th. Exclusive. CIA's secret office has conducted UFO retrieval missions on at least 9 crash sites around the world, according to whistleblowers. Now, these whistleblowers spoke with the Daily Mail, and according to them, there is a secret CIA office, the Office of Global Access, that has reportedly been coordinating the retrieval of crashed UFOs. According to them, at least 9 non-human crafts that have been recovered by the U.S. government, 2 of those 9 fully intact. They say the OGA, the Office of Global Access, is part of the CIA's Science and Technology Directorate. According to the 3 anonymous sources that spoke with the Daily Mail, they say that the top secret operations include also involving special forces operations, nuclear weapons experts, and other military units to collect crashed and landed UFOs and then take them and put them in the hands of aerospace contractors for analysis to avoid government audits. So it sounds similar to what we talked about with the AT&T phone logs, right? They're taking the phone logs and they're giving, $6 million to be able to have access to the phone logs, and then somebody is going through the phone logs. The government's doing the same thing with these UFOs. They're recovering UFOs. They're putting them instead in the hands of the private sector so that there's no government oversight, so they're not auditing it. There's no, and then they even say that a lot of the people that are in these organizations that are receiving these the unidentified aerial objects,
whatever UFOs,
yes,
you know what the hell.
Whenever they're finding them, the security and compartmentalization of the information is so spread out that people will be dealing with UFOs and not even knowing that it's extraterrestrial technology. And kind of like with the Manhattan Project, where people didn't know they were working on fuses for the bomb, but they had no idea that bomb was going to be dropped on Hiroshima and it was an atomic bomb.
Wow.
So the same day that story comes out, there's also this article that comes out. This is from The Hill. Oh, I think we skipped. Did we skip? Oh, all right. Let's play this clip real quick. This is from Tucker Carlson yesterday.
Okay, this is yesterday.
Yep, it's a 1-minute clip from 2:15 to 3:15. This is Tucker Carlson talking about the secrecy of UAPs, because we'll get into it, but there's Republicans that are resisting transparency when it comes to UFOs, and Tucker Carlson explains why it's so odd that the government tries to keep this information from us, and what has been the held belief for the longest time. Why don't they tell us the truth about UFOs? Why do you think they don't tell us?
Religion is one of them, right?
Okay.
I think people would be mind-fucked.
Mind-fucked, okay.
Public panic.
Public panic,
well,
okay,
yeah,
good.
Nice way to put it.
Take a look. Tucker has a great question for that. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's a great question.
Is that what, 215?
Agencies have been lying about UFOs for more than 80 years. This has been a coordinated effort. It is both highly time-consuming and very expensive. Many Americans have been hurt in the process. But why? What's the point of this? Wouldn't it be a lot easier just to release the facts? Now, the conventional explanation for why they haven't been released is that the U.S. government is lying about UFOs because the truth about UFOs is too scary to reveal, that they're real. And our leaders wouldn't want to panic the population. But that's not true. In fact, it's ridiculous. Wouldn't want to terrify the population? Terrifying the population is what our government does best and most avidly. Officials regularly gin up irrational fears about COVID or white supremacy or Vladimir Putin or a dozen other topics as part of a pretty obvious control strategy. It's not like these people mind it scaring you. They want to scare you, and they do it every day.
Great.
So why would they lie?
So again, so the lying and covering, again, fear, security, people, mind fuck,
religion,
as you say, right?
Religion.
But it turns out they scare the shit out of us all the time. So that can't be a reason as to why they're keeping UFOs secret. They want us to be scared. So then this article also came out yesterday from The Hill. Why are key Republicans resisting transparency on UFOs? Back in July, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and a bipartisan group of senators introduced the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act to declassify and release government information about unidentified flying objects. The UAPDA. They gotta stop. It's like
They gotta
so
stop
many
freaking
It's like the trans movement. They just keep adding letters and shit onto it. But the entire point of this was to aim to promote government transparency and restore constitutionally mandated congressional oversight regarding UFOs, making UFO information public to the general public. However, Republican lawmakers, including Mike Turner, Mike Rogers, and Mitch McConnell, who I think is a lizard person. That's why. You ever see the photos of him with his bruised fingers? What a weird little turtle
when he just freezes.
Yeah, exactly. The alien needs to be removed.
Signal to the mothership.
And it actually makes sense why he doesn't want it to come out.
Yeah.
And then why are they continuing to try and keep this information from us? And then it makes me think about other things that they've tried to hide from us. Let's go to the JFK assassination. This is a June 30th, 2023 article from CNN. The National Archives concludes that the review of JFK assassination documents, with 99% of the documents made public. The assassination happened 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Most of the people who were involved, if there was a conspiracy to kill him, are dead. Who are we continuing to protect with the 1%?
Yeah. Well, but do you think it's I think if it's the establishment, meaning if we find out that the FBI, I think that 1% that they're not releasing, the FBI, this is my opinion and I feel it strongly, the FBI, the CIA, with probably some Cuban nationals, with probably the mafia, they 100% killed them. That's my opinion. You can't if you come out right now, Rob, to be honest, all you guys, if you come out right now, Christian, they say, I'm sorry, the FBI and the CIA had their hand in killing him. What happens to so that means the FBI and the CIA, you guys, that's treason. If any of those fuckers are still alive, we have to put them to death. And now, guess what? CIA, FBI, you're finished.
Well, it puts everything in question, too, because it's like, if they did that, what else did they do?
100%. And if you kill the leader... Bro,
if you get to that.
Yeah, if you kill the president... But wait, if you kill the president of the United States and you're one of these three-letter establishments, it's over. And the fact is, they did. They did do it. Yeah. So where's the accountability?
You know what it reminds me of? Like, so like, say somebody's having an affair or something, like their partner's like, oh, you're totally cheating on me. You're totally, like, no, I'm not. Like, but like they totally assume it. It's like that with the JFK thing. It's like, oh, you definitely killed JFK. You definitely did. They're like, no. But like even though people totally expect that's the case, like once they say yes, we did it, it's a totally different thing. Like,
that's why they're gonna go to their grave, Brandon. They're not gonna say it. Yeah. They'll never admit it.
That makes it totally different, more powerful.
It goes even deeper. When you remember that right after resigning, Richard Nixon said, the same people who took out Kennedy just took me out.
Oh, shit. Yeah. But without killing him.
Yeah.
Well, and Vinny, you had mentioned the mafia, the Cubans, CIA, FBI. Kelly, could you please show the next headline from this article? This is from the 20th of this month, November 20th. This is from News Nation. Location of second JFK assassination footage remains a mystery. Now, I'm assuming you guys know that there's a second JFK tape.
And guess who?
Correct?
They talked to Roger. The girl... It was a female that Roger Stone knows.
So there's a woman. Yes, Gail Nix Jackson is the daughter of a man named Orville Nix Sr., who filmed the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and he actually ended up selling his film to the United Press International. But when they returned the film to him years later, he received a copy, and the whereabouts of the original film remain unknown. The U.S. House of Representatives committee subpoenaed the original Nix film from the UPI in 1978, and according to a review of the assassination footage, they concluded that the probability that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone was very minimal, and that the assassination of John F. Kennedy probably involved a conspiracy, considering that Orville Nix Sr. footage offers a unique angle of a place called the Grassy Knoll. So why do they hide this footage from us? It goes to other footage that they're hiding from us. Kelly, could you pull up a video that I sent you? This is an article from The Wired. Well, no, you can show the article. This is an article that talks about how we viewed 9/11 in 2001. We live in a different day and age now with smartphones, tablets, technology. Back then you had an AOL. I had an AOL account. I'd have to go to CVS and get a disc for 30 free hours, and then I could log on and chat with my friends.
Hey, Rob,
that's how
I was 4 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're gonna make me feel old. Yeah,
I was in the military.
Sorry that they didn't have it in Jamaica.
No, America, born and raised.
A lot of mercy.
So on 9/11, there were just 3 videographers who ended up capturing the plane impact into the first World Trade Center. Everybody saw the second one because by then news had gotten there. But how many cameras do you guys think filmed the Pentagon being impacted by a plane?
Security footage.
Do you think there's one?
No, I've seen one.
You were 4 years old.
Yeah.
I was in the United States Air Force. I was in Wyoming. Everybody that, not when you were 4, but everybody that was an adult remembers where they were and what they were doing. I remember as it was unfolding, we saw the second one hit. From the reports that I heard, Secret Service, FBI, bunch of people went to all the surrounding gas stations and confiscated all the By the way, why, and I'm with you, why the hell can't we see it? There's only one security footage from a gate that we see.
Oh, it's right here.
And by the way, and let me explain something. Oh, she's going to play this?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and you know that I feel like this, there's no way in hell that this is an airplane.
No.
There's no way this is an airplane. And because even in the aftermath, there's no wings, there's no wheel. There's nothing that indicates that this was a freaking plane, but everybody bought it.
The guy that flew the plane into the Pentagon, according to the official narrative, was a guy that failed out of flight school, but according to them, he made a corkscrew maneuver and then flew the plane just hundreds of feet above the ground. But if you've ever gone to the Pentagon, and I have, I actually went down and looked at where the plane is supposed to. There's no way that that plane could come in without hitting trees or coming in at the angle that it was coming in, because they always show you footage of, here's the Pentagon, it's flat, right?
Yeah.
You actually go to the scene and it's downhill. So you're telling me a guy who failed out of flight school and couldn't fly a single-engine plane was able to take a 747 on an incline,
I don't believe
flat
it.
down, crash into a plane at 600 miles an hour?
Without getting shot down, too. Like, you know,
And I would imagine, despite the fact that we have this one video, it's the Pentagon. There's got to be hundreds of security cameras.
Just for the Pentagon, but like Vinny said, gas stations, hotels around the area. Somewhere along the lines of 82 is the number that I've heard. However,
and that one part was cleared out, too.
but the mainstream media has only ever showed this one, and the only mention that I can find on the internet, and I scaled a lot, the only thing that I could find that mentions more than one plane or one camera is from a Wired magazine, Pagers, Payphones, and Dial-Up, How We Communicate on 9/11. And in that article, they say only 2 security cameras at the Pentagon are known to have captured the impact of the plane there. So if they're reporting that there's 2 angles, why are they not showing us the other camera? It just leads into other things. Like we could get into the
Can we see that? Can we see that?
Go ahead, take a
Kelly,
look at
can we
this
see this
footage.
I want to see where's the plane in the back right.
You'll see it.
That's right there.
Where's the plane?
Bro.
That's a missile.
That's
That's a missile,
Watch this
bro.
again. Yeah, theyll slow it down.
That's like a missile.
plane.
That's a white missile.
That's very
Like,
funny.
but Rob, you know what's crazy? In this moment, we were we gotta get these terrorists.
That's right.
Nobody at that moment, because like Chris Cuomo said today, we back like Bush Jr., horrible, dumb gaffe, horrible. All of a sudden, we were like, we gotta go to war, and nobody questioned this shit. But it's like the news. We got so far along. People are like, "Really, you're asking about building number 7? Really? You want? Really? You want to see the missile footage? Why are you even questioning our government? You're not.
Right.
That's unpatriotic.
Yeah.
No." It's ignorant for you not to ask questions. I want to know the truth.
And it's information that they keep from us, and they act like it's for the greater good. National security. We must continue to protect you from yourselves and knowing about the actual truth. Let's talk. I mean, we could get into it. The legal battle that heats up over the Nashville Shooters Manifesto. How about the guy, Stephen Paddock in Las Vegas, that shot the biggest mass shooting in American history, killed 60 people at the Harvest Music Festival? No manifesto, no motive. The FBI even came out and they investigated and they went, we don't have a motive. And then 3 years later, they actually put out an article. This is from the AP, and the article is titled, I don't have the title of the article. Kelly, can you shoot to the next one? Next slide, please. Thank you. Gunman in 2017, Las Vegas shooting was angry at casinos, new FBI files show. But guess what? Guess where that files were? They talked to a gambler. Here is an FBI interview with the gunman's fellow gambler is detailed detailed in hundreds of pages of documents where the gambler said that Stephen Paddock was upset because they changed, different perks that you get from being a high roller. Like he was upset that he couldn't get a free Disney cruise. So he went and shot up 60 people at a music festival.
That's logical.
So they have information that they continue to hide from us. And this whole idea of government transparency, it's just an illusion. And I wonder, I want your guys' opinion. Why do they keep hiding information from us? Is it for our greater good? Is it because they realize releasing that information to us will then be the downfall of them? What is it?
Yeah, for that specifically, yeah, definitely. Because, you know, like, so 9/11 is a lot like this whole Israel situation. You know, I'd say, like, without a doubt that Israel let Hamas attack because Netanyahu's wanted to invade Gaza this whole time. You know, same thing with 9/11. Look at all the benefits our government reaped from that. They got to push through the Patriot Act because, you know, to keep us safe from something like that happening again. They got to go to the Middle East, you know, seize the oil spots they wanted, spend $12 trillion from the military-industrial complex. So anytime this type of stuff happens, it's something they want to gain by doing it. And, you know, they also, they can't admit to doing it. Even if, like, 60% of the population thinks that they did do it, like I said, they can't admit it because then it makes it real. Right now it's just speculation, but a lot of people will still believe them just because they're saying they don't, because they're the government. It's unimaginable to think they would do it. But if they say they did it, then obviously those people would, like, know they did it.
It is pretty suspicious to me that all these major events happen. 9/11, you know, Israel, all these things, all these failures of intelligence, and people don't ever, we do, they never stop and they go, okay, wait a minute. So this thing happened, Pearl Harbor, all these things that we had the intelligence. We knew XYZ warned us. We knew Condoleezza Rice called the mayor of Chicago and said, hey, asshole, don't fly to New York today. All these coincidences that happened that led into, like, 9/11, the reach in, we run the Middle East now. Yeah. We run the Middle East. All these moments that happened, it's like, Rob, that's a great question. Is it that we're so caught up and we don't get that we trust them so much that the questions only get to a certain point where they throw the word, the phrase conspiracy theories that the CIA made to extinguish that descent up to this level because they know we're going to ask questions.
There's a great documentary that was out, I want to say a year ago. I think it's called The Unspeakable. And the whole premise of the movie is it's 4 people from the UK who lost family members in 9/11, and they are suing the government there to get records of the deaths of their families put into some type of commission to investigate further that the towers were brought down by a controlled demolition. But the whole basis of the idea is that they talk about an inherently evil government conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. That it's so inherently evil, the idea that a government would kill its own citizens, that the average person, their brain actually cannot comprehend that people who are supposed to act in their best interest do not and have done it. And so that's where it's called the unspeakable, because it's something that's so evil, people they can't even compute that it actually happened, so they don't even talk about it.
I've heard a lot of people say that too, like, you know, like our boss here, like he's not a conspiracy guy, but that's his kind of comeback when we say, like, well, like, why don't you think this is possible? He's like, I just don't believe people are that evil. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that when, like, just people who aren't typically people who believe in these things. That's usually what they lean on. Is like, I just can't imagine that people are that evil. So yeah, you're totally right about that.
Expand your imagination. But I mean, you can sit here all day and talk about, you know, the motives and the key players and all these things, and because all this stuff is hidden, we can't really get to the bottom of it. But what we can do is assess the effects of it and draw conclusions from there. I mentioned being roughly 4 years old on 9/11. We went to Afghanistan right after that. We left Afghanistan when I was about to turn 25.
Yeah.
Insane.
Like, that was the effect of it. Which means for my whole lifetime, we were at war and controlling Afghanistan.
And imagine the Afghani children that are growing up in 21 years of war.
Exactly.
And imagine what 12 trillion could have done for our infrastructure, education, everything that we're lacking. You know, we wasted it on what?
And speaking of Afghanistan, if you guys want to see something like a documentary, Escaping Kabul. It's on HBO. It's a documentary. I'm pretty sure it's Escaping Kabul. If you want to talk about an abysmal, because you know that's under Biden's resume of the war's over. If you guys see, is that the name of it, Cal? Escape from Kabul. I'm telling all the viewers, and I want to tell you guys too. If you have an hour and a half, watch this thing of guys, you're gonna cry. You're gonna see people exploding, ISIS, because they just were like, hey, these people were running on the. Because think about it. Once we were like, okay, we're leaving on this date, the Taliban just strolled into town. All those years, all that year, then what the fuck was? What was the point? What was the point? We just packed up and left. But if you see, like, these people were trying to get into this one gate, bro, just to come to get on these planes to escape. But then, by the way, children are dying, babies are dying. People are throwing their kids just to bring them to the front. We leave, but it's a positive thing for Joe Biden to brag about that for his resume. It's a really, really good documentary. I recommend. I really recommend you guys watching it, big time.
Yeah, definitely.
No, trust me if you guys want to watch it. But anything else? Anybody else have something to say about the?
I'm good.
So basically,
I yelled a lot.
So guess what? Aliens?
Do they exist?
Probably.
I'll just say probably. Or Rob, here's the flip side. Don't forget what we're gonna say before we close out. Or it's the government has been slowly for all these years. Oh, one crash. I think that might be their one. This is an option. If all hell gets too crazy here, you know how you bring in a new world order?
The aliens told us to stop fighting.
Chrissy, the threat can't be from here. Think about this.
Yeah.
I want ask yourselves this. If tonight, late breaking on every network, Elon, X, CNN, guys, there's an alien spacecraft. They're communicating with us. We would all shit our pants and go get toilet paper from Costco. Just like, okay, that's what Americans do because we're all full of shit. Aliens are here. They're communicating with us. You're not going to see the communications because it's top secret. And they're telling us, do this, don't go outside. They already tested us with COVID. They know exactly how the fuck that's going to pan out. Do this, do that, Connor. Because think about it. At that moment, nobody gives a shit if you're black, white, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, trans, gay. Everybody has to come together and listen to the man because it's an outside threat. That, I think, when it comes to aliens, can be their like Hail Mary.
Project Bluebeam.
Yeah.
Project Bluebeam, because they've been slowly, Christy, like think about it. It's what, since the 50s, alien landing. It might be that.
Now they have the tech to fake it too. Like whether they want to do it for real, they have the spacecrafts that look like something's out of the world to start shooting shit, or even just use like fake like graphics to do it. You know.
Brandon,
you said something. We were speaking earlier that you were like, if aliens were real, like they would have killed us already. Like if they could kill us, they would have like annihilated us.
Well,
already.
if we were a threat to them.
Well, but even so, like it made me think like, so maybe this is just like a plot that they're just like having there as a Hail Mary.
Oh my God! What if
maybe it's not even real?
I'll encourage you to and another option to what you said, and I encourage you to go watch what Tucker did last night on this. It was a great episode.
Is it good?
On X. Okay. One of the things that he said is, what if the reason why the Republican senators are trying to stop this passage of transparency and legislation is because they are implicated in some type of crime? And what would that crime be? Would that crime be having communication with some type of other life form and making a deal with them in order to utilize their technology to further our own advancement? What would we give them in return? So that's where it gets dark, and you're like, well, what if the government is working with aliens and selling out humans in order for alien technology?
Yeah, what if aliens are like, hey, listen, there's two guys, guess what? You're reproducing too much. LGBTQ, pump that. Oh, by the way, too many men, too much testosterone, bugs. Dude, and this might be all coming from upstairs. Like, there's too many of you guys. Let's soften the men.
And we'll start with Mitch McConnell, because that guy is an alien.
He's the 100% alien. But guys, I had a blast. We went from we were from Ireland for Connor to aliens and eating bugs and porn. The porn.
We talked about porn?
Yeah.
Wait, what did we talk about porn?
Okay, you were like, I said porn at one point. But thank you guys, everybody, for watching. I do want to say, Patrick Bet-David has a book coming out, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. All right, I haven't get to read it yet, but I've heard a lot of good things. It comes out December 5th. You can get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And you want to talk about plugs. If you want a signed copy, vtmerch.com. Guys, I've been hearing a lot of good things. This is the book. What was the first one, Charles?
Next 5 moves.
The next five moves. And now, guys, this is your...
Also Audible, too.
Oh, it's going to be on Audible, too. Well, that's... Because, guys, guess what?
Yeah.
Don't drive and listen to it because Pat has that deep. You're going to go to sleep. But, hey, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe already. In the description, if you want to see my interview, and I'm so excited.
You're live.
Okay, no, I feel good. It's my interview with Hillary Clinton. If you guys are going to watch it, it'll be in the description. But I love you guys. Take care of each other. God bless you, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.